BBM, we finesse your finance. Sit down, cause your money's got no bands. Be careful when you're out chasing that paper. Come to us, that will make your money safer. Yo, we give that knowledge and advice. Financial solutions to make you feel nice. Reduce your mistakes and your risk. This is something that you don't wanna miss.
2020, obviously, it was a bit crazy. No one expected 2020 to be the way it was. Everyone at the start of 2020 was like, yeah, 2020 vision. Yeah, just give me my best year. I'm gonna live my best life. Everyone was making, yeah, you know when we have those kind of special years, like when it's millennium, like 2000, when it's 2020, everyone comes up with all these different things, and it turned out to be something completely different. So we had a pandemic. Well, we had a pandemic that we went through.
Holidays got cancelled.
They got cancelled. You know, ideas and everything that you thought you was going to do throughout the year, everything got flipped on his head, or it might have been good. How do you think the 2020? How did it affect you guys?
You know what? There was a bit of both, man. There was a bit of both, because there's certain levels of growth that I hit last year that, you know, when people were telling me they had a bad year last year, I was nearly feeling bad, because a lot of the time I was all right. I was sweet, you know, like even from a family perspective, coming away from finances a bit, the amount of time I was able to spend in my family, you know, just being at home, working at home. Financially, I wasn't spending as much as I usually would be catching the train into Canary Wharf, because I'm at home, I'm here, you know. So yeah, that almost yeah. So you know what, it was all right. It was all right. Like I tried to, despite the circumstances, ensure that I had, you know, positive experiences and do what I needed to do. So yeah, my 2020 was actually okay. Couple losses, little losses, but we move. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear that as well, especially the family thing as well, because I feel like for me, in terms of how it was before 2020, a lot of the things that I was doing before, like I was staying late at work, coming back at time, Saturday, Sundays working, everything. The pandemic happened, and it just gave me time to sit back a little bit and then have a little think. Okay, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to move forward with this? And at the time, I was just growing the business. I was just growing it then. And kind of, I just started the second business, and I was thinking, okay, what direction am I taking this? And then with the pandemic, it gave me time to actually sit back and first of all, for the first month, because in my main job, what is that holiday called again now? When you like, you know, when you're off for a month, the name has gone off my head. But anyway, so I was getting paid, but I was obviously working. I was at home, so I wasn't actually working. That's it, furlough. You're sick, Lewis. So I was on furlough for a little bit, but that gave me time when I was on that furlough for a month to just chill. For the first 2 weeks, I didn't do no work. To be honest with you, didn't do no work. That was the first 2 weeks break that I've had for a little bit. I think I was just playing PlayStation with my brother, chilling with my sister. Like, I got to speak to my mum a few times. Everything was cool. And then I was like, okay, now we can go back in. So the family time one I can resonate with, because it kind of allowed me to realize, do you know what? I kind of had been putting work first a lot, which I think we get sucked into doing.
Word. And you know, it's funny, because I thought as if even those times where you're kind of away from the office, and even if you are just playing PlayStation with your brother or something, there's convos you might have with your brother that would kick off different ideas that you wouldn't have been able to think about if you were working. Me personally, even my CK Talks Money page, I say to everyone that pulls me up about it, if not for this pandemic, I would never have started it. Because I'm always at work, I'm always doing something. I never ever had the time to really think about how I can strategize or, you know, position this page. And it was only as a result of, you know, us being at home and not having to go to work every day that I was able to come up with the idea. So yeah, like it's not all bad. It's not all bad.
Nah, I had the opposite. So I was already in business. I was already pretty much working from home. So it didn't feel like it should have been a massive change, because I wasn't doing anything that different. But now my husband's in the house. He's in the office, so I can't use the office anymore because he's commandeered it. So I'm now in the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, trying to work somewhere else. And I also had a 4-year-old in the house at the same time.
Right.
So from pretty much the first week, I was on the floor. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm trying to have my client meetings. She's like, I remember a specific point, probably around May, and I was sat right here in a client meeting. And it's always when you're in the client meetings with people that you're not that familiar with. So it was a new client, quite a high level client. And she picked up my husband's Adidas slider and threw it across the computer screen. And it was at that moment that I said, I can't do this. This is not going to work this year. I give up. I'm not doing no business. I'm not doing anything. I quit. But, and the reason why I chose that song at the beginning, I'm a boss. I persevered, I pushed through, and I actually achieved the most growth in my business last year of all of the other years that I've been in business. So I worked it out. It was hard. And there were times where, no lie, I was on the floor, back against the door. She's banging the door down. She wants to come in and I'm crying and I'm pulling my hair out. But we made it through. So as much as there was growth, I'm quite open and honest about the fact that last year was a struggle for me from a just trying to hold it all together and keep pushing perspective.
Now you've got like a brand new website out.
Yes.
You didn't mention that.
Oh yeah. Well, it was slow and steady wins the race. That was my whole thing. Like if I can just get to the next stage, so if I can just get the content for the website, at some point it will go up. If I can just do a photo shoot, then we've got the picture. So I've been working on that website from the beginning of last year, and it's taken this long. Check it out. She's the boss, intl.com. But yeah, again, we made it slowly but surely.
Make sure I write that down. But you know what? I know myself, Roneish and Michael haven't shared, but I'm actually interested to know, do you lot think, yeah, because it felt like when everyone was introducing themselves, everyone was kind of like comfortable with saying, I am a boss, innit? Like that's what I do, that's who I am, that's the role I play. Do you think that the label we give ourselves and the feeling we have therefore sometimes makes it harder to accept that we're going through a challenge? Because what you just shared there, Daniella, made it sound to me almost like, was it a little bit hard to forgive yourself on a vibe of like, yo, like I'm allowed to face a challenge, you know? Do you get what I mean? I don't know what you lot think though.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose in the first stages, I'm like, I'm a boss, you can do this, but she's the boss. Like she's now 5. The 5-year-old really is the boss. If she says we're not doing this right now, we ain't doing it. If she, as I said, when she used to come in and throw things, close the computer or climb up in the cupboard when I'm trying to have a client meeting, she is the boss. I think one of the reasons why I was able to get through it is I didn't hide that fact. Like I didn't hide the fact that I was struggling. I spoke quite openly on my social media to say I'm still a boss, but bosses cry sometimes. And actually being able to release your emotions, be able to share that you're struggling, that's what's going to enable you to find strategies and solutions to kind of overcome and combat them. If you stay in this boss mode all the time and bosses can't do this and they have to just keep on going regardless, and we're not allowed to show any emotion or accept that maybe this is difficult, then yeah, you're gonna break down really, which I kind of did in some respects, but built back afterwards.
I like what she just said about accepting it as well. I like what Daniella just said about accepting it, because I actually unfortunately had a friend who went through mental health as a result of his business going downhill during last year's madness. And I remember having a chat with him and I was saying to him, bro, like, you realize that we're in a pandemic. You do realize that you're not the only one going through all this stuff. And I feel as if when we put ourselves in a position when we come to grips with the fact that if it was a thing where my business is struggling, everyone else is you know, doing great, everyone's doing amazing, it's just me, I'm just in the corner like, yo, what's going on with my thing? But I said to him, bro, we're in a pandemic, people are losing jobs, people are losing income, people are not making money at all. So don't be so like hard on yourself, you know what I mean? So I think that was another thing about last year. Yeah, we can you know, still call ourselves bosses. I love how Daniella has that boss mentality and I fully flex with it. But when things go wrong, they go wrong. We have to just learn to embrace it and think about how we can, you know, move forward. That's what last year really showed me, you know.
I think for me, last year was, I think, greatly a good year personally for me. And I feel like that was for a lot of people, if I'm honest with you, because a lot of people in my circle have said the same thing. I started to feel bad and I let that go afterwards because it is what it is, you know. I mean, at the beginning of the year, you know, I launched my 4th book, The Power of Goals. It was a great sort of moment. Thank you very much. But then obviously, you know, the pandemic hit back in March. That's where I started my new job. That's when I paid off my big boy loan that I had to pay off. That was like just haunting me for like years. And then this pandemic just comes into play, and it's just like, okay, how do I deal with this? And for me, I treated it like a test, almost like a great reset. Because if I'm talking about, you know, personal development, resilience, X, Y, and Z, I'm human too. I'm going to feel this stuff. But at the same time, I really want to test these theories even more, get down to ground zero. And so I sort of saw it as a game. I mean, for a very, very long time, I was fine, like mentally, everything else. What grated on me was working from home and getting the stresses from work, because there were situations where, you know, obviously I'm doing this thing on the side, I'm doing it in work, plus I'm doing my day job as well. There were situations where I'd have 12 meetings on a Friday. Who does that? You know, I know it's easy to say, you know, create barriers, and I did that from the beginning, but you get sucked in. You get sucked in. And so, I mean, this continued for a very, very long time throughout 2020. Everything else in my life was rosy apart from the work situation, to the point where I decided I'm quitting. I'm going to do my own thing. And the reason I did that was because it really conflicted with my values. And that really highlighted to me because of this whole pandemic thing, this whole great reset, because it exposes what I'm worth. It exposes what I can handle. It exposes what I need to be focusing on. So, I mean, from a very results point of view, very good. Mental health point of view, I knew I needed to make some drastic changes that I may not necessarily have been comfortable with in previous years. So yeah, those are my sort of reflections.
No, I love that. I love that, because everyone at the moment, we started a bit slow, or we started a bit. We're testing the waters, and as we're getting through the year, that's when we're kind of like, all right, I'm making this decision now to do this. But yeah, no, I love that. I love that. I think we've still got a couple of people to talk as well, haven't we?
Yeah, so for me personally, I had left my job, my full-time job, December 2019. So I was at home. I had been planning for years to work from home. That was a goal for me. So I adapted nicely. It was good. But what I did miss was the social aspect of it all. Like I love a coffee, I love a catch up, I love all of that social aspect. And I think later on it hit me like Christmas time, yeah, things just changed. But it was a very good year for me to really get focused and really put away the excuses, try out things, see if it works, see if I like it, you know, because I had got to the point in my career where I was going for what I wanted to go for. I had enough of kind of like, you know, when you're in a role and they have a job for you and you're going in a certain direction, but deep down, you know, you don't want that role. There's something about it you don't want, but it sounds good on paper. And you know, but you don't get the fulfillment for it. So yeah, I don't live in London, so it was quite nice for me in a sense that I could do a lot of meetings over Zoom. And stuff like that. It gave me access to people I probably wouldn't have. I used to work in the film and TV industry, so even that as well, being connected, like some people are hard to get hold of, so even being able to do that. So that's what I would say for me in a nutshell. I just went for what I wanted, really.
Love. Because you already put yourself into a position where you was working from home anyway. You said end of 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I hadn't figured out what I really wanted to do. I just said enough was enough in the corporate world. And I tried different things, you know. Before the lockdown happened, I was traveling into London every day, like £60 a ticket, like there and back, like it's crazy. And then Zoom happened, and I was like, yeah, like I was loving it. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I was loving it. And also it made me realize who I am as a person. I'm like in the middle. I'm introvert, but I'm extrovert as well. Like, so I don't mind my own company, but I like company as well. So yeah, that's
I'm just smiling because I see Lewis's message. Quick maths. on that £60.
I'm just trying to work out if that's a 5 days a week situation. Because I'm saying, you said £60 and then you said day. I was hoping you was going to say week. Because then
I
I
didn't
was
know
like,
what was gonna happen. Listen, I'm a person, I'll make it happen. Like if I can get a meeting with someone or if there's an opportunity, and like I said, I was initially I was in the film and TV industry, so there were certain films or producers I knew were going to be in a certain place. Listen, I'm going.
100%.
I'll get back my money, don't you worry.
Yeah. No, of course,
But
no. The
yeah.
only reason is because in my head I was like 60 times 5, okay, that's 300. Then I was like, there's 4 weeks in a month. I was like, okay, interesting. Do you get what I'm saying?
But in the corporate world, I was doing that. I was doing that. I don't know what, I used to work on film sets, so you could be anywhere. Like you have to travel there. I was doing 4-hour round trips, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Like that ain't sustainable, man.
No.
So I'm very grateful that I was able to work from home. I know that I've been able to save time and even just on my body, like just. It's a lot, like it's a lot.
Yeah. Sitting on a train is weirdly can be exhausting. People don't realize that. Sitting on a train can actually be very exhausting, honestly.
Definitely.
You know what? I must admit, yeah, listening to you lot is so interesting because my situation was quite the opposite. As in, I preempted the lockdown, and as soon as it got announced, I was aggressively active, like as in I welcomed the 12 meetings a day, and I was like, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, by the way, but I'm just saying that was my response. So for example, with Revolution High, my social enterprise where we're going to schools and stuff, we clocked these schools are going to close, and my mind didn't go to business. My mind went to, there's going to be a whole generation of young people that are going to be lost, like literally lost, because they've never been prepared for having to do education from home, being away from their friends. Some of them might be in households that are not very welcoming. It could be cramped. It could be. So my first thing to my 2 co-directors was, meet me on Sunday. We're going to record as many videos as possible just to flood Instagram. That's all we're going to do. And then we were like, look, we were rolling out a new program anyway that was a lot more holistic in terms of covering all of the topics that we cover within our curriculum. We were going to do that, but deliver it in person. We said, right, make an online academy straight away. That's what we did. So like day one, we were quick meet. What platform are we going to use? How are we going to get this recorded? Right now, I've got the whiteboard paper behind me, but on another wall in my house, if I turned around my laptop, you'd see bare white paper on the wall. That was me creating a white background in my house to record for this online academy. So we created an online academy like that, and then it wasn't even finished, I'll be real with you. Before it was finished, I started selling it, and I just started going to all the schools. So we have an online academy now. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was on that vibe from the jump. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but I'll be honest with you, it wasn't just for the purposes of business. It was also because in my head, I genuinely just felt like a lot of people, especially young people, are going to be lost. So one of the other things I did within the first week of the announcement was I reached out to pretty much every person that I felt like I had been speaking to a lot in the last 6 months. And I just emailed them and said, forget money, everything's pro bono. What do you need right now? What are you struggling with? Because I can only imagine this is a mad time for you. So I was doing loads of stuff. Some things people were like, no, we still got peas, don't worry, here's this. But sometimes people were just like, yeah, like we just need help with this. So I was just doing loads of free things, just delivering it. And it was interesting because it balanced out. But I think the reason I bring it up is because I was the person who, when I got to December, I was tired. I was very tired. I'll be honest with you lot. I got to December, and to me, December is a blur because I was standing same here having meetings and just thinking, if they ever knew how tired I was. And the thing is, I'm sleeping as normal, you know, but I think the last 9 months took its toll. But then also the other reason I said I had the opposite experience is because I actually had to be honest with myself in December about the fact that I didn't do enough family time. So I've always had I'd say I've been very disciplined. I've got a very good routine. So I actually saw an opportunity in lockdown, like, wait, what? So I don't have to travel to King's Cross to the office now. So I can just literally get up, start working at, let's say 10 a.m. once I've done my morning workout and all of that. And I'm quite comfortable working from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., having just done a 30-minute walk at 5 o'clock and come back and crack on again. But then I got to December and I was like, bro, I didn't really spend much time with anybody like that. Do you get what I'm saying? I didn't really connect with people. I didn't really find out, like, how is my mum? Like, how is my dad? Like, how's my sister? Like, properly? Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, I had to take that as a lesson into 2021 on a vibe of, you actually helped the world. When I look at some of the things I did last year, and I hope this comes up in the conversation later about some of the new things that I rolled out and things that I've been doing, I've got hundreds of people who said to me, Lewis, you were so helpful to us in 2020, but the people that were most important to me, was I helpful to them? So I had to take that as a very big learning curve, because I was like, whoa, like, you helped the world, but did you help home, innit? So yeah.
And
I
also,
listened
did
to
you
you.
help yourself? Like,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Well, that's interesting, because I feel like, no, that's a very good point. Interestingly, I feel like I did, in the sense of I had a lot of lessons about myself as well. Like, even in terms of, I've always seen myself as a leader, but I had to make a few very interesting leadership decisions last year that I struggled with. And I was like, wow, why am I struggling with this? And I was like, oh, you might make decisions that are just about you and about the direction, but you're not good necessarily always having uncomfortable conversations with people and telling them where they can't pull their weight. I was like, rah, like, I'm putting on conversations for like 2 weeks and that I need to have, like, no, I'll do it tomorrow, innit? Like, no, I'll tell them tomorrow. Like, literally. So, but I noticed the drain of that. So when you talk about helping yourself, Roneish, I felt the emotional drain of that was mad to me. Like, I was like, right, like, why am I actually feeling drained just thinking about this? And it's like, normally I'm someone who, my diet's very good, my exercise regime, my sleep, I meditate every day, like all of that. Yet I'm finding that. So it was interesting. It was very interesting, man, honestly. But
hey, Lewis, did you find that now that we was in the pandemic? I know I definitely found this. Everyone seems to think, oh, actually, this is for everyone. Everyone seems to think you've got loads of free time now. So everyone's bringing up to try to give you. I had that so much during the year, especially, you know, Lewis, what happens in the 100 as well. They'll be like, oh yeah, Michael, you're at home now, innit? So, and the thing is, with work as well, what I found is, in work, normally if I was working, the maximum meetings we're gonna have is 3 meetings a day. As soon as now we've got Zoom, Microsoft Teams, there's a meeting every hour. It's unnecessary. So now I'm just literally, I don't put my video on. I mute I mute everything, and I'm just doing my own work in the background until I hear, Michael, what do you think? Mad.
Yeah, no, that's real. I think I can't lie. I don't know if I should use the word privilege, because it's not necessarily that, but I felt I was a little bit lucky in that, because I do work for myself, and obviously I've been able to be quite protective over how many meetings I do want to have. However, I welcomed a lot of them because I found myself being productive. But interestingly about the free time thing was, like, I had this the other day, because I've also been just trying to help a lot of people. But someone put me in touch with some guy. I don't know how me and the guy know each other, but he basically wants to start a social enterprise. Reached out because he was like, I know you've done it. How does it work? Whatever. And he messaged me and he was like, oh, can we talk later at 6? And in my head, I was like, how do I tell this guy that I plan my week on a Sunday and literally every minute is already accounted for? And the idea of me having to try and fit you in actually doesn't make sense in my head. But how do you explain that to another human being when we're in a lockdown? Like, I was like, how do I actually do? Because it sounds like I'm being selfish, but that's just how I work, isn't it? Like literally, like, before we came on this call today, I've planned my week. I've gone into the kitchen and I've cooked for the whole week. Like, everything's planned to me, innit? So it's like, when you say, oh, can I call you? Like, if you're not my girlfriend and you're not part of my family, I'm going to struggle to, do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to struggle.
Say no, just say no. And I think that's the other thing, boundaries during this lockdown. People seem to forget what boundaries were. I had people sending me messages at 8, 9, 10. Can you just check this? Can you just read this? No, just no. And I personally haven't struggled with that word at all. No.
Yeah, that's so true. I told him no. It was just the fact that I was like, the fact that I was like, how do I tell him I can't because, bro, my week's planned? But then I told him and he was like, rah, that's mad. Okay, maybe I should do that. In my head, I was like, yeah, you should. But anyway, still, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I agree with you. Saying no is calm.
Do you know what, though, with my one, and I think obviously it's different with everyone, depending on where you're working. With a lot of the things that were put towards me, it was always to do with something that would affect someone else. And most of the times, the person that would affect would be a young person. Young people are already going through something that's difficult as it is. So when they're asking me to do these things, I think that's why it plays in my heartstrings more, because it's like, okay, I can say no. They can probably find someone else to do it. The person who's going to do it is going to give 50%. I'm giving 100%, and I know that I'm going to be able to affect that. So I will do that at the disadvantage to myself. I know it's different for everyone. Everyone's got their own thing, but I will do that at disadvantage to myself, because I can go sleep about half an hour later and do what I need to do afterwards. But then if I need to do this for a young person, or it's going to affect a young person in the long run, then I'd rather put that first.
But here's the thing. And as some context, my first business was a social enterprise specializing in working with young people from disadvantaged background. And I wore that in the same way. What happens with that is you get to burnout, because if you're trying to keep pouring from an empty cup and you give, and yeah, you might give 100% whilst this other person's giving 50, but that 100% is not going to stay 100% continuously. It's not sustainable. So actually you do have to be a little bit more strategic in what you say yes and what you say no to. And it might not be a complete flat out no, it might just be a not right this second, because you need time to do whatever it is to rejuvenate, to replenish yourself, so that you can give that 100%. Because what you even think is 100% might not be 100% because you're depleted. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of help yourself before you help other people. The stronger and the more whole you can be, the more you can give indefinitely.
I agree with Daniela. Do you know what I learned because as you know, Mike, I outside of professional life, I volunteer with the 100 as well. And I love mentoring. But one of the things I noticed about my approach to mentoring last year was I decreased frequency, but I increased intensity. So I tried to not speak to my mentees as much, but every interaction make it more. I was trying to be more like, I don't know if we should be using these kind of references, but I was trying to be more like a sniper. I wasn't trying to be that guy that's going in the house, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to like just let off rounds and hope something lands. I was like, when I talk to you, it's just going to be like, it's just going to, you know what I'm saying? That's it. And so I was trying to go for increased intensity and trying to evoke changes in behavior and attitude more effectively than trying to do the same level of frequency. And I think that is so right what Daniela said, because it actually does allow you to have the energy, but also the peace of mind, so you can be a bit more strategic when you are seeking to engage. Because also then you can start to question, and I know you do this already, but you can start to question the people that are coming to you with the request and go, but why are you doing it like that in the first place? If you didn't like this, if you did it like this, we wouldn't even have to be facing the challenge in the first place. But we don't always have the capacity in our minds.
The only thing I'll add is, I feel like since, especially throughout 2020, it's a lot easier for me to take this on now. Because when I'm like you're saying, you're getting to that bit where you might burn out. But if I was doing something that was for me and not what I thought God put before me, then when I burn out, I'm gone. But when I burn out and I'm like, oh, here you go, God, I'm unloaded, refresh me. So I go into when I get to that stage, I'll start praying. When I get to that stage, I get my Bible out, I get my word out. So then, because I'm like, there's something that I need to be learning from here. If I get frustrated, I get this, I get that, then it's going to take all that away from me. So that's for me. That's what's helped for me. I think everyone's different in the way that they find what's helping, but 100% my relationship with God last year, in a time when it should have been harder, is when it grew. Because then that's when I was taking things to Him now. You don't have your church or your pastor that you can go and see really quickly and do that. No, you need to go to God yourself and say, hey, God, hey, boy, it's getting a bit sticky. Man, it's next 3 hours. I need you to help me right now. Like,
It's true. Listen.
That's facts still.
Yes, I hear you on that. I had to hand my business to God.
Yeah.
This is your business. Tell me how you want me to run it, because it's real. Like when you're serving and you're giving, like what we do is more than just work. Like it's deep stuff. We want to see a difference, and we're really sowing and giving people we're changing people's lives, right? And it can be draining, and also we can feel like we must do it. Like I've seen like the amount of value that I've been given, and I now need to protect my time as well, because, you know, even last week I realized it was my last meeting on Friday. I don't work on Friday. Like, this is the whole point where I'm an entrepreneur. I get to dictate but I'm working till 9:30, and I had to reflect, what was I doing? What did I get from this right now? And then that had a knock-on effect on my family time. Me, like, you know, I'm going to bed later now. I haven't eaten. So whilst before I was saying about, you know, I used to do 2-hour trip here, you know, 2-hour trip in the morning. In fact, but I'm working more because I'm at home, like, and then I had to check myself out. There was a client I booked in at 10 a.m. and I was like, do you know what? I don't work at 10 a.m. I don't start my day at that time. This has to work around me. I start work at 11. Yeah, that's the time I start work. And in fact, I need, you know, so I just rearranged it, because it can be easy for us as entrepreneurs to just slot people in because, you know, for me as an entrepreneur, I'm not sure entirely what tomorrow's going to hold for me. Every day is a new opportunity for me. I do have some structure, but sometimes it's like, wow, this just happened, you know. So I give space for new opportunities to be birthed, and so I like that. It's exciting. I don't like the same old routine, too structured. That's not me. But I think for me, it's very important that I have a cutoff, and that I know my value. Like, I've definitely been able to see what I've been able to give others. I know that my time is my time, even with my appointments. An hour is an hour. Like, before I'm doing 2 hours, like, who am I trying to please? Like, no.
KBM, we finesse your finance. Sit down, cause your money's got no bands. Be careful when you're out chasing that paper. Come to us, that will make your money safer. Yo, we give that knowledge and advice. Financial solutions to make you feel nice. Reduce your mistakes and your risk. This is something that you don't